Hi Lukas, it's a pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you very much.
So, first topic, it's the big question that everyone has in their minds now. It's the major. 4 days after the majors, when we're having this discussion. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm feeling great. It was 2 tough weeks for us, with ups and downs, and now we're here on the other side, and we're just like really happy that we came out victorious at the major. It was a really special tournament, so really happy right now.
That's great. And was there any team other than EN+ES that made it to the grand final, obviously, that surprised you either for good or for the worse?
I think MIBR actually was playing pretty good, and don't think they played too good against us, but the other games I saw, I think they played really good. So that's like one team that I really expect to be competitor towards us in 2019.
Okay.
And also Fnatic. We practiced a lot against them before the major itself, and they didn't manage to qualify. I was really surprised with that, because I think they are a really good team, and I hope they won't do changes, because I think they can get on top.
Yeah, it was for me. It was pretty shocking, to be honest, to see them perform like that, because it's, as you said, I mean, they are one of the best teams in the world, and it was very surprising. And in terms of players, was there any player that you said, "Oh, this guy is really good," and I didn't know anything about him?
Well, was there some players? I think Alexi B from EN+ES. He surprised me a lot, because he is the in-game leader of the EN+ES team, and as being an in-game leader myself, I really look a lot into how the other teams play, and I think they played really good. So I guess that he has a big responsibility in that. So yeah, I was really happy for him that he made it so far.
Yeah, and in such a young team like they are, I mean, 4 of them didn't have any stage experience at the majors. It's quite a story, isn't it?
It's quite a story, and I think you can really see it. Like a lot of Finnish talents has started to rise in Finland, and you can really see now that the skill that they are putting in and the time they are putting in, it's really helping them a lot getting to these kind of finals.
Yeah. And one thing about the major, and about especially pretty much all of 2018, is Astralis dominating the scene. What is it that makes you so different to other teams? I mean, in terms of performing and everything, really.
So first of all, we have a really strong lineup, that's for sure. Like, we have really good individual players, and people seem to understand the game and be on the same page, and that's what I think is the most important, that we all want to play in the same way. It's not like someone want to go totally aggressive and someone want to stay totally defensive. Like, people listen to me, and they understand what I'm thinking. And I think that's the most important thing. Besides that, we have a huge team helping us in the background that nobody sees, with media obligations, social media postings, just for us being able to focus only about the game. And I think that is something that is helping us a lot as well.
Okay. And one question that, I mean, it's in the back of my mind, and I have to ask. It's obviously about dupreeh. His dad passing away was. I'm not so interested in the personal aspect of this question, because obviously I think we cannot figure out how it went, especially for him. But it's more about the team. How do you guys react when he tells you the news? And what's your first reaction towards the major? Do you think about staying in the competition, or maybe even leaving? How did that unfold?
So we knew that dupreeh's dad had been sick for some time. So we tried to prepare ourselves, even though we know it's impossible to prepare ourselves for something like that. But we tried to do it, and when Peter told us that it's about time, and now his dad is going to die, it was really close to the major. So yeah, we told dupreeh, and Sonic had a lot of talks with him, and Casper, who's our sports director, they had a lot of talks together if dupreeh wanted to go, or if dupreeh wanted to stay home with his family. And they came to the conclusion that it was good for dupreeh to get out and be in something that he really loves to do, and maybe get his mind off for it for some time, and then he can get back. And I know that he told us that his dad wanted him to play this major, and he wanted him to win it for him. So I'm really happy for dupreeh.
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest stories. How he pulled through something that it's incredibly hard to imagine, going through that experience and actually coming out on top of a huge competition. I mean, it's it's impressive. It's impressive from every possible angle, and that's. I mean, it was something that for me it's probably the biggest story of the major. Once you pull out all the competitive things, that's the most important thing of the major. How it happened. It was also the case for Flusha, if I remember correctly. His mom passed away as well, and which brings me to another topic, which is the speech that Michal gave on the stage. I believe it was on the quarterfinals day. Were you there when he gave the speech?
No, I was not there. We were preparing for our game.
And did you have the chance to hear what he said?
I didn't have the chance to hear the opening ceremony that Michal gave, but he said something about Flusha's mom or what?
He didn't mention specifically what happened. I mean, he said that two players had lost their parents. He didn't say who. But it was a great speech. It was a great moving speech. The community really liked it. If you haven't seen it, I would suggest that you find the time to do it. It's not very long. It's around 3-4 minutes. It's basically about the story of you guys, and I mean the whole competitive scene and how you are going through all the difficulties, both in setting up the scene, because at the end of the day, the scene is very young. It wasn't this big and this impressive 7 years ago, for instance, and how you, at the end of the day, you are top athletes that are going through very difficult things that all of us at some point go through. And so if you haven't seen it, you should. Yeah, it's definitely something that I think you will like.
For sure, I'll do that.
Yeah, I hope you like it and you tell me about it. What about your performance in the major? Something you're happy, something?
So for me, it was not my best tournament actually. I think I played pretty poorly, especially in the playoffs, and that's why I was a bit confused about how we won some of the games quite easily, because usually it feels like that we all need to perform to win this convincingly, but this time around I didn't have to perform, so I guess my teammates played really well, and I know they did because they all had really good statistics when I look back at it. But yeah, I'm just really happy that we managed to win, because there's nothing worse than if you play a bad game or a bad tournament and your team is losing because of that. That would have been really tough for me. So I'm really happy that we managed to win, even though that I didn't play that well.
So you're very demanding of yourself. You have to give your best every game, and if you're not giving your best, you're not happy about it.
Yes, sometimes it can be tough to say, because you really want to be happy with every win, every single match you play that you win. You want to be happy, but still sometimes if you have a bad game yourself, it can really affect you emotionally. And of course you are happy in the end that you won the game, but still you just you expect a lot of yourself, and I think that's also why people are top players. That's because they expect a lot from themselves. So yeah, you have to find a balance between those things.
Yeah. And having a team that is dominating the scene right now, as you guys are doing, do you think that's something good for the competitive scene, or is it bad actually? For the people watching you, and for the scene as well, for the competitive scene as well. Do you think that Astralis dominating for so long, is it a positive thing, or is it actually a negative thing?
I think it's a positive thing. We are setting the bar really high. We are doing a lot of stuff that some of the other teams ain't doing. And we're actually telling people what we are doing most of the time. So I just want to see people evolve, and I want to see people take it to the next level. Also for us, we are trying to improve all the time, even though that we are on top, because we know that we have to do it. Something that is pretty cool to think about in that way is that if you look at our nuke games, I saw Sean Garris, the analyzer, he talked about it as well. If you look at our nuke games, now we have won a lot of games in a row, but if you look at the first ones, you see how we play there. And then now you look at the ones that we are playing now, the nuke games, and you see a total different Astralis team playing nuke. And that is even though that we have been winning a lot of nuke games, we are trying to evolve and get new strategies all the time.
Okay. And talking about that evolution, we tried to get a few questions from Twitter, and there are two that I think are quite interesting. And the first is actually about Sonic. What does he bring to the table, and how do you work with him?
So me and Sonic is having a really close relationship. We are talking a lot together about how we prepare for opponents, what maps are we going to play, what do you think that they will be picking, what do we need to pick. So we are having a really good talks before the games, and actually Sonic is like, he's a really nice guy, and he is friends with everyone from the team, and everybody likes him, and they have a huge respect for him. I think that's really important. So everything that Sonic says, people actually know that they need to do because they respect him.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think the same thing is with me in the game itself. Everybody respects me from the team, and Sonic knows that what I'm saying is what we are doing in the game. So outside the game, I feel like Sonic is like kind of our dad or brother or something that tells us what to do. And inside the game, I am taking control.
Okay. Okay. And the other question is also, which I think it's a very smart question. It's what's the worst about being on the top of Counter-Strike? Is it the stress? Is it the being harder to stay with your friends back in Denmark and so on? What is the worst aspect of all this success?
So being a top Counter-Strike player can be tough because you have a lot of tournaments to go to, and I think that's tough because you have family and friends that you want to be able to see. So of course you have to say no to some stuff to go to tournaments instead. But at the same time, I really enjoy going to tournaments. I really enjoy practicing with the team. I enjoy like everything about Counter-Strike. So for me, I have been finding the balance of being able to being really happy with the life I'm having right now.
It's a life that many people would love to have in the Counter-Strike world.
Sure, yeah.
Actually, since you said that you love Counter-Strike, one of the big questions right now is the new meta with the AUG and the SG. What's your take on the AUG? Do you like the new meta? Do you hate it?
I'm not sure yet. It's still tough for me to say actually, because I didn't play with the AUG that much myself. But a player like Sipix, for an example, from my team, he's doing really well with the AUG. He's really good with that gun. So of course I'm trying to learn from him. How can I do the same? So in some way it helps us, but still, when you're on top, a change in meta is not always the best because it could actually put you down in second, third place or something if it benefits the other teams more. But still, I think it's good to have changes in the game sometimes because else it could be a bit too boring sometimes. So yeah, I'm really happy that Valve does something. But if they need to nerf the AUG a bit, maybe, I don't know yet.
Okay. And do you have any theory on why the SG hasn't come into the meta as strongly as the AUG has?
Yeah, I think if like the SG is a good weapon, but I feel like it's tougher to spray with than the AUG. I didn't play it myself that much. I remember Mag actually played it back in the days sometimes but he only did it when he needed to like peek, have a 1 versus 1 versus a CT, and he needed to peek him. Then he used the SG sometimes. I think the AK is really good because it also one-shots and you can spray with it a lot easier. And when you are running and you want to do a tactic together where you have to push forward and push into the CTs, then I think the AK is a bit better. Okay.
And you were talking about Nuke, but the map that has piqued my attention is Inferno. I mean, you guys have incredible utility usage in Inferno, and what I'm wondering about is how did you come up with that? Who is the most creative person in the team? How did you guys come up with the idea of using grenades on Inferno, for instance?
So in the beginning, it was Sonic who came up with the ideas about giving more nade damage. I think he saw something with our matches or something with other matches where he just saw an opportunity to give more nade damage if you actually stack the nades instead of just throwing random grenades. So we started to think a lot about it when we practiced, and Sonic, he found us some grenades that we could try to use. So that's how it all started actually. After that, I think that especially Dupree and Magisk, they started to also being able to improve their utility damage a lot, and then they actually look a lot on how much utility damage they're giving in practice games, and they made me realize, at least those 3 guys, that we need actually to have a lot of focus on this. So yeah, I'm really happy that they came up with those great ideas. Okay,
yeah, it's impressive watching you play with the grenades in Inferno, and actually, obviously Nuke is your strongest map, but Inferno is amazing as well on LAN. you're very strong there as well. And my impression is that it's mostly because of how good you are with utility there. And that's the strongest point. And now moving on to a bit more personal, because I mean, at the end of the day, we kind of know who Gla1ve is, but I want to know who is Lukas. So I know, I mean, you're a very young man and still a long way off, but eventually you will retire one day, like we just saw as a biceps do. And obviously, as a player, I can imagine that what you want is people that think about you as a great Counter-Strike player, but I'm thinking more about as a top athlete. How do you want people to see you as once you retire and what do you want them to think about Lukas, not about Gla1ve?
I want them to think about me as a great in-game leader, first of all, because that's what I've been fighting for a long time and like for my whole life. I have always been like a really good leader in the game, all the way back to since I was like 14. I always looked up to great in-game leaders, and they really made me realize that this is something that I need to proceed with. So I wanted to be remembered as probably the best in-game leader that has ever been there. That is my end goal for when my career stops, for sure.
Okay. And once you retire as a player, do you want to keep going as a coach, or do you know what do you want to do at the moment?
I think it's tough to say right now, because hopefully there's a lot of years till that day. But yeah, I guess coach is a great way of going forward, because when I look at Sonic, I'm really looking up to him. I think he's doing a great job as a coach, and if I could be able to do that after a great career as an in-game leader, I would be really happy. But as you know, things can happen in life, and you never know what to expect from the coming years. Yeah. So I'm just taking it chill right now, and maybe someday I'll be coach, maybe not.
Actually, speaking about the years, I hope it's a lot of years. I don't know, you know about Faker, the famous League of Legends player?
Yes, I know him.
He said recently that he feels he's getting old. He's 22 years old. I mean, he's very young.
How young?
22 years old.
22.
23 this year, I mean. But he's about your age. Yeah. And he says he feels he's getting old to play League of Legends. So the question is, do you actually feel that being 24, 25, whatever, is actually too old to compete in eSports?
If it's too much?
Yeah,
to play
I mean, do you think that someone that's 25 years old, for instance, or 28 years old is too old for eSports?
No, I don't think so. I don't think 28 is enough. I think it's not only about when you have reflex and when you are like a good player in the game. It's also something about how you want your life to be outside of the game. Do you want to have family? Do you want to have more time with family and with your friends? Do you want to have kids and such? So yeah, so it's about your focus. So if you really love to play Counter-Strike, I think you can go at least until you're 30 years old and maybe more, maybe 35, like you see in football players.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so yeah, I think it's really about what you really want. And Faker is thinking that he's getting old. Maybe it's just because he wants to do something else with his life in some way. That's how you say how you can feel like you're getting old, but right now I'm feeling pretty young in Counter-Strike, and I just want to do it for a lot of years.
And it's great that you mentioned football players, because usually when this topic comes up, when I'm in these discussions, they say, oh, but it's true that a player is 25 once he's getting old. And I always say the same example. Do you know Michael Schumacher, very famous Formula 1 driver? In 2011, if I remember correctly, he made the pole position in Monaco. He was 42 years old, and we know how demanding Formula 1 is. So if he can do that, I mean, I'm fairly sure that a Counter-Strike player, for instance, at 38 years old, he can still compete at the top. I don't know if that's your feeling as well.
Yeah, I think so. As I said, I think it's mostly about if you love the game or not. And I'm sure that Schumacher, he just loved his life, and he didn't want his career to end. So he just took it really far, and I'm really happy for him that he managed to do it. But I don't think it's possible for everyone. I think everybody is different. And you need to listen to yourself and not just think like, this guy, he ended his career when he was 35, so I need to do the same. No, I don't think you should think like that. You need to like try to feel inside. How do you feel? Do you want to live your life like this for 5 more years? And if you don't, you should not sign up a 5-year contract. So yeah, it's about listening to yourself, I think.
Yeah, if the passion isn't there, why keep going?
Yes, exactly.
That's a great point. And now, coming back again to how dominating Astralis is, it also means that you're getting way more popular. So is it affecting your everyday life back in Denmark, for instance? Are people stopping you in the street for pictures and others more than in the past? Has it changed?
Yes, actually, you can feel that in the last 2 years you have seen like an upgoing curve. People has been able to came and stop us and say hi and get a picture, and it's in my everyday life right now, and it's even when I go to the bakery in the morning sometimes the guy behind the desk, he says, "Oh, congratulations with the major," and when I go to the gym to work out a bit, some of the guys want to take pictures there, and sometimes when I go to a bar in the evening with my friends or with some family, there's women in the 40 years old that says congratulations and want pictures maybe for their kids or for themselves. So you can really see like a big involvement in the industry, eSport industry in Denmark, and especially I think it actually especially in whole Scandinavia and Europe.
Yeah, and I think it says a lot as well about what you're doing. I mean, you're at the top. As you said, for so long that people are noticing you outside esports as well, and they are noticing what's happening. And it's very interesting that you mentioned actually 40 years old women actually stopping you for a picture. I mean, that's something that probably you would never expect when you see esports and how young all players are. And there is something I don't know if you know anything about Spanish top athletes. Like, I mean, I'm thinking about Iniesta in football, for instance, or Rafa.
Yeah, I know him.
It's true that in the present it's not as common, but back in 2010, when the World Cup happened and he scored the goal and so on, a lot of young people look at Iniesta, Rafa Nadal and Pau Gasol as role models, like people to look up, just not as top athletes, but as people, and they were looking at them and trying to act like them. Is it something that you are thinking about, that you may be a role model for young people in Denmark and all around the world? Is it something that's in your mind?
Yeah, for sure. It's what we have been talking about within the team for some time now, that we need to be really good role models, because we have a huge influence on how people grow up, how they talk, how they act towards each other. So for us, it's really important that we try to bring the esport industry in Denmark, especially towards the highest way possible, and that will be with how you act, how you talk, how you eat, how you stay healthy. Yeah. It's important for us that we do what we can, and we use the things that is possible to us to actually influence people in a good way, instead of being mean towards people and creating drama and stuff like that. We don't like that. We really want people to feel happy and to feel open, feel welcome, eat healthy and stay as fresh as possible, and do what you like in your life, and try to get something out of it.
I think you said about being mean and so on. One thing that's in the back of my mind is, eventually, because we've seen it happen in other sports, like in basketball, in the NBA, for instance, the Golden State Warriors have been dominating for so long now that they are becoming the villains, and they are becoming the super villains. Everyone wants to beat them. At some point, you may as well become the super villains of Counter-Strike. Is it something that you have talked about? How are you going to react to that when you see that, besides your fans, the true Astralis fans, everyone is going to be expecting you and waiting for you to lose and go there? I mean, how are you preparing for that?
I think it's not happening right now, but it's definitely going to happen soon if we keep on winning. But to be honest, I don't believe that we can win every tournament in 2019, because that would be like close to impossible, right? Yeah. So I think we'll like go a bit up and down, and of course when you win some tournaments in a row and 2 majors back to back and stuff like that, people want to see you lose. And the whole community that is not Astralis fans mainly want to see you lose, because you are on top, and everybody likes an underdog story, right? Yeah, that's why I think that a lot of people wanted EN+ES to win the final against us in Katowice. But we have to take our mind away from all these kind of things, because we need to focus on being number one, And if we put our focus in the wrong way, and if we look too much at what people think and what people comment about it, I think we will have a tough time staying number one. So it's about picking the right things to read, and something will go inside the one ear and outside the other. Yeah, you have to have that skill.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. And you said we don't think we're going to win everything in 2019. Well, theoretically that can happen. It's a possibility. Obviously, it's very hard. It's true, but it could happen. But since you're saying that it's probably not going to be the case, who's the team that's going to beat you? Do you have an idea on who could beat?
Yeah, so I think there's a lot of good teams right now. I actually think if they just find out 100% how they want to play, I think MIBR is a really good team. I think Fnatic actually is up there as well. Of course, we have FaZe Clan. They have amazing players. I'm not sure if they're going to do a change or not, but maybe it will be necessary for them to do a change to get a proper in-game leader, so Nico can actually focus just on fracking. So we have MIBR, Fnatic, FaZe Clan. Of course we have Na'Vi. They looked solid actually, and they were close. They should have won against ENS, and I think they could actually have gave us a really great final in Katowice. And then if I just say one more team, who was I thinking of? Then I think NIP actually. Okay. I think NIP has a really good lineup as well. I'm not sure if they are capable of winning a lot of tournaments in a row, but I definitely think they are the dark horse right now. Yeah.
Okay. Actually, I had NIP on my pick'em, and it went for 3-0, and I failed miserably. So yeah, but I really do. NIP is, at least to me, it also looks like a very solid team that could do great things in the future. Other than that, I don't know if there's anything on the back of your mind that you want to mention, since I mean everything. This is for everyone that is watching in English, and we'll have subtitles in Spanish as well. But I mean, this is for everyone. So if you have a message that you want to send to anyone out there, now it's your chance.
Yes. So actually, I'm really happy that we got a lot of support throughout the whole major. I'm really happy for Dupree that he got so much support from the whole community, even the players or the community that wasn't Astralis fans. I'm really happy that they are so supportive in the way when people actually need it. I hope we will get a lot of great finals in 2019, and I hope we will win more tournaments. I'm just happy for the support, and of course I want to say thank you to all of my partners as well, because they have been doing a really good job, and also the team behind Astralis. Not to forget, they have a big a say in why we are winning a lot, and I hope that the other teams will feel as comfortable as we are when we are going to tournaments and just being able to focus only about the game.
Okay, well, that's. I mean, it's a wonderful message, especially about Astralis, because in all these teams there are, as you said, a lot of people that we don't see anything about them, but without them it wouldn't be possible to do what you guys do. So, Lukas, it's been a pleasure talking with you. It's been a very interesting interview. It's been a very nice chat. So, thank you for your time. I hope you've enjoyed it.
Yes, actually, it has been a really nice interview. I think you did a really good job, and yeah, of course, I hope you like my answers as well. So yeah, thank you a lot for having me with you.
Thanks. Have a nice day.
Thank you. You too.